beep, 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 the horn.
Amelia is a curious, energetic 3.5-year-old.
6, 7.
She's growing stronger every day, but she had a tough start at life.
I was 26 weeks one day, and she weighed 1 pound, 4.5 ounces. She was in pretty bad shape.
Kim wasn't able to hold Amelia for weeks after her emergency C-section due to a rare pregnancy complication.
I felt like my body had failed us, and I felt like this is not how babies are supposed to be born and brought into the world.
But Riston found help with NICU support classes and March of Dimes events.
I never lost hope because there was always a NICU nurse or NICU staff member or a March of Dimes staff person or other, later on other NICU parents that gave me that support. So that really helped get us through.
Sometimes moms, like Riston, do everything right and still have complications. But a lot of West Virginians still smoke and use drugs during pregnancy, greatly increasing chances for premature birth.
And part of the problem also is that if people who are using substances are afraid to go to the physician because they're afraid of the consequences, then they may not seek prenatal care, which is an issue.
Dr. Maxwell says getting to the doctor during pregnancy is the best thing you can do for your baby.
Obviously, the earlier you're in prenatal care and the more prenatal care you have, the less chance of your having a complicated pregnancy, less chance of a premature birth.
You're talking about Thanksgiving? Yeah, I got a Thanksgiving.
Clinton Nichols has a lot to be thankful for. He survived the historic 2016 floods, and this week, West Virginia VOAD is helping to finally get his bridge repaired.
Propane tanks, buildings, cars, everything come down there and just kept on until finally knocked it out.
Since cleaning up from the flood, the 72-year-old welded support beams on the bridge, but then had to stop work after breaking his hip. Now volunteers hope to have the project done by Thanksgiving.
I tell them I'm going to sleep on there the night they get that concrete poured. It's been so long.
You be careful.
But we've either had to walk across it or, and every time a creek goes up, we're kind of stranded.
West Virginia VOAD says this is what they do, leveraging volunteers with FEMA, state, and donated dollars to make sure no one falls through the cracks.
Going across the creek to gather mail. Such a simple task that most of us take for granted is wiped away just in an instant, and to be able to restore that it's overwhelming.
But more volunteers are desperately needed. Mennonite Disaster Service has been on the ground since flooding, rebuilding 40 houses and 39 bridges.
Our theme is Restore Hope.
As for projects still left, Senator Manchin says he's working to get more federal dollars into the state.
It doesn't go far enough. It just doesn't. And we just got devastated, more so than what people really knew. And FEMA recognized that, so we were able to tie into some other dollars of the other disasters.
Samuel Reiser, known as Dickie, would have been 67, about to turn 68 next month. The Cabin Creek native grew up in West Virginia, moved away to Indiana for much of his adult life, and had just returned to Glasgow. He was renting this home for about a year when he mysteriously disappeared.
And when you run into someone on the street that you believe in your heart has taken the life of your father, or your brother, or your grandfather, that's pretty hard to live with.
He just got to know my kids. They were just getting to know him. He was going to their ball games, and they were just getting to know him.
Michelle White fears for her safety, afraid to show her face in this interview. Michelle is Dickie Reiser's oldest daughter. She and the rest of her family have spent the last 7 years not knowing what happened to Dickie.
And he's had 3 granddaughters born in Indiana that he never got to meet. We've had weddings he didn't get to go to.
Since Reiser was originally reported missing in December of 2010, his family has posted missing person signs all over Kanawha County and billboards, pleading for the public's help. Police following every lead, chasing every tip, but so far no one's been arrested. That's when Michelle asked a childhood friend, now private investigator, for help.
A very fun-loving guy, would take the shirt off his back to help anyone. He was very caring, very friendly.
Dickie didn't show up for work the morning of the 8th, and on the 11th, his family was told he hadn't been to work in 3 days. So Michelle and her aunt went to check on him. They found the house locked up, his car sitting in the driveway, the television still on. But Reiser was nowhere to be found.
So detectives have been investigating it with a variety of possible circumstances. It could be that it's a missing person. It could have been a homicide. It may be some sort of a kidnapping that turned into something else.
Reiser's family is offering a $5,000 reward for any information leading to an arrest. And the private investigators are passing along new leads from people who are just now starting to come forward, claiming to know something about what happened.
The suspects do have friends that are talking to us, so their friends are not holding anything back.
Investigators tell me witnesses who were afraid of retaliation in the past are starting to talk after all these years. Michelle hopes that an arrest will be made soon and her family will get the much-needed closure they long for.
They were violent enough to do what they have done already, so what's to stop it from happening again?
You can call or email into the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department with tips at 304-357-0169. The Cabell say they're also taking information for anyone not comfortable with police. You can call them at 304-982-0200. We'll post those numbers over at our website, tristateupdate.com. For 13 News, I'm Melissa Meisner, working for you in Charleston.